All right, I don't know. There was something weird. The machine just decided. It just decided it had all sorts of issues, so I had to like shut it down. I don't know what it was. It was weird. Um, but everything seems fine. It wasn't my internet. It was just this computer that I'm running the stream on. And I think all along there was something not good because it kept doing that reconnecting thing. All right, anyway, so we still got some time left. We're back. And all right, learn, study. We're back. Sorry about that. Temporary outage. Sludgy analysis stream. Welcome to August, everybody. Today's August 1st. So I left off here, suggesting the possibility of bishop b5 check. And that wasn't played in the one game in the opening explorer for Igor. The thing is, I mean, like knight f5 is very tempting, but oftentimes this happens in the Philidor. And there's also simply like g6 black can play. I guess coming back here is a good square. We have good control of that. But there's all these different plans. You can go here like he did, and go to f4 and get to d5 somehow. There's also knight b3. I had a game recently. This move was played against me where I was white, and exact same position. And I think I played this. But the thing about this, what I like about knight b3 is the Benoni sort of aspect of it. This isn't a great square, but we're probably gonna play that bishop to b5 or maybe c4. But maybe later then they can recycle back here into c4. So we can get like bishop out to b5, and then later play knight c3, get the bishop out, and then redeploy that knight from b3 to d2 to c4. And ultimately that would be the like ideal setup for white. So we are back. I had a computer issue. I don't know what it was, but it had been acting weird since the stream started. So anyway, this does seem like a standard move. I think that black's question here is how seriously should one consider right. How seriously should one consider 97? Like there's a similar variation in Sicilian, but it's not the same, remember, as the bishop b5 check Sicilian, or e5 in the Sicilian. This is c5. This is different. But if here, now the d6 pawn is difficult to defend for black. On the other hand, it is defensible, but you pile up, queen c7. I mean, maybe the best move there. This looks unpleasant for black, honestly. Queen b6 doesn't help because we have knight c3, and then we're threatening knight d5. And if knight f6, we just pile up on the d pawn. It looks very bad for black. And obviously, this is painful. So queen b6 doesn't look good. Queen c7 doesn't look good. a6 is playable. And then what do you do? If you take, black takes to the queen, and now d6 is protected, bishop f4. This actually looks pretty good for white. But maybe black has some way, like this. It's not that clear. The queen c6 move sort of saves him. So I'm supposed to play knight c3, not bishop f4. And white has a very large positional advantage based on the d5 square. So here, control of d5, trump on an e4. All right, but anyway, it's difficult to call. Bishop d7, and now he should take with the queen. And now knight f5. The problem is black has sometimes later d5 or g6 as he played in the game, g6. This is not the real Magnus Carlsen. Can't black play d5, but where? Yeah, here. The problem is you take with the queen. It loses a pawn. He can't play d5 yet. Earlier. But when? Now? When do you want? What do you mean earlier? When can you play d5? There's no time earlier. Check. Bishop d7. Bishop takes d7. Queen takes d7. Knight f5. Magnesium Carlsen. No, 20 is not the ELO. I don't know what that is. 20 minutes? I'm not sure. The PGN didn't come through clean. G6. Knight g3. So, yeah, I had a game like this with one of my students once. Something similar. So this is a bad square for the knight because it has no immediate place to go. But it could recycle, like we said. But I think like the more sensible thing to do seems to be to go here, where we keep an iron grip on d5. It does block the bishop. So black can play like bishop g7, obviously. And it doesn't seem that easy. I don't think you give up that bishop. So knight c3, I'm not real worried about this. That doesn't look good. I don't think black can afford to do that. So knight c3, and then he develops. How bad is this for black? Let's see what the computer thinks. Okay, 0.7. So apparently this move is strong, knight c4. I missed that. So I guess bishop g7 is inaccurate. He shouldn't play bishop g7 right away. He should play knight c6 first. Now knight c3. Oh my god, black can castle queenside. But again, I don't know about bishop b5 check. Is it the best move? So yeah, it looks like it's a good move, but it might not be the best move. It's not a bad move for sure. It's the standard idea in the Sicilian. After c5, knight f3, d6. How do we get? Oh yeah, like d6, d4. People do this all the time, right? e5. And now here, oddly enough, bishop b5 check looks like it is the best move. This is a known line. This so-called, no, I thought it had a name. Give it a name. Here, for some reason, it's better. I could probably work that out if I had enough time. But in your game continuation, yeah. So it looks like my move is the best, the knight b3. But it's a very small difference. I guess the bottom line is that you're trading like his good bishop off, but trading pieces in general kind of frees black's position a little bit. So it's a trade-off. Take here. I like 93. And here the computer thinks that black is almost equal. Bishop g7, castles, knight c6. This knight is not in a good place. It needs to relocate in order to be effective. And now this move is understandable. c3 is very understandable. As I said, I am not worried about this. Do not worry about this, because this is like fatal weaknesses in black's position. You cannot afford to do that. I mean, you could try, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's not a position where you play bishop takes knight. I think you will play c3 later, but maybe you should play this first and wait till later. But okay, this is a little slow. 97. And now theoretically, black is threatening d5, like you said. It's still too early to play because his king's in the center. This is a good move. And then castles, and then you prevented d5 by playing bishop e3, which is reasonable. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the best move on the board. The only move that like stops d5, if he plays b6, can you stop d5? Probably move the queen and try to pin him on the d file somehow. You know, like this d5 rook d1. It's a little awkward, but it might work. But black's certainly not better. I mean, rook d8 and then queen c2, and you've got good control of these white squares, and you're preparing to play this or the other, maybe rook f d1, so you can play knight c4 and play a4 over there. Black plays a6. That's a little bit loose. And you played rook a d1. So again, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. Looks like black's going to play b5. I'm not super thrilled about that, but I also don't think there's anything we can do about it. That's a problem. b5 is a good move for black here. Maybe he should just... No, he can't. Okay, you're threatening bishop takes c5. Good. Here. It's probably too late to play rook f, rook a, queen e6, b3. Here. You could consider this move with the queen trade to lessen black's control of d5, and you're also hitting b7. I mean, that looks dangerous, to be honest. If d5, he loses a pawn. Probably. If he exchanges queens, I would imagine black has some kind of, you know, enough play. Maybe, maybe not. You have this. No, not really. So, queen b3 is an option. He played b3, and I'm still concerned about b5, and that's what he played. b5 is killing your knight. It kills your knight. I mean, now you have two bad knights, and black is, well, black's at least still not playing. He's not playing d5. But it looks like white should try for f4. This is certainly not a safe move. If you go f4, he could play a lot of things. f5, yeah, it's risky. So he did this. This is a very sensible move. And now b4. Wow. So he's sacrificing everything to get control of d4. Now I don't know what you should do here, but it's not forced to play c4. Instead of rook e1, it's possible to go knight c4, b6, knight d5. Aha. But okay, but we don't have control of b5. Like, okay, so here, here, here. No, this knight is lost. Like, figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking, the knight is lost. Like, it doesn't know where it is. So, for example, queen c7, knight d5, knight d5, pawn d5. And white is not got anything. It might be worse. No, it didn't work. I kind of like the way you played it, but it shouldn't be like white's better. Yeah, this is black playing an interesting game. Okay, so you could not play c4. a3 would be a funny move. It's probably nothing. It doesn't look good. Looks like black's better. cb4. Ah, cb4. Yeah, so you could have played this. That's why he played a5. So you had, this is counterintuitive. This is a good move. You had takes. So c4 was a mistake. See, I didn't realize you could take. You'd simply take. This is a bad structure for him. So maybe black's still okay, because your knight is bad, but this is very solid. If you take and he takes with the knight, then you move the queen to a different square. I don't know where. Maybe e2, maybe d2, maybe e2. maybe d2. Because d5, bishop takes c5, undermines knight on b4. So you still manage to keep some kind of small advantage here. After c4, I think he's fine. And this is a very natural. Magnus Carlsen did that to me too. In my experience, Magnus likes to do lobster like rook pawn advances. He did two of them to me. h5 and a5. a5, king h1, knight d4. So I don't know why he's suddenly playing this. Because black, I mean, I guess you're setting up for this, but he he can play a4. I don't, I'm not worried about this pawn going anywhere. Pawn, you're not going anywhere. That pawn is done. So black could just play a4 with no concern about it. And ultimately, he's infiltrating on the a file. That's probably stronger than knight d4. This you ought to consider taking. That knight is the knight is too strong. So that is gone. In my opinion, the knight is gone now. He's going to take with the bishop, and obviously that's a pretty good bishop. But your knights aren't bad either. I mean, now you have white squares, knight d2, recirculating f4. I think that knight d4 is a mistake by him, and he shouldn't play that. So a4, way better move. You should take. Oh, you did take. Okay, you did take. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this is what happened. Knight e2, and now knight c6. Now your other knight is messed up. One move you can consider is a4, but you have to consider a4. If you don't do a4, he might do it for you. And this looks like a decent scenario because if he takes en passant to prevent it from getting locked up, you have knight takes, and then you have maybe knight here, and white is not worse. Maybe white's better. It's a computer thing. No, it's like equal. Okay. But it's certainly not worse for you. Knight f4, you're leaving him with the bishop on d4. Oh, that's... So he plays knight d4, take, knight e2, and he plays knight c6. This is a surprising move. Okay. Well, I'm not taking that necessarily, the bishop. But your knight on b1 is your problem. Dvoretsky was like, if you don't know what to do, figure out your worst piece and make it better. I mean, this is obviously a move. This is the other move that we might want to make first. So you got your knight to d5, and suddenly it looks like white is better. Why h6? I don't know why he played h6. Actually, what does h6 do? h6 is a weird move. I guess he wants to put his king on h7. Yeah, you played like very safe. Possible exchange sack here. That's not like a Marazzi theme. Oh, you did. I think this is a little bit early. There's no reason to freak out here. I mean, I admit that it's close to working, but okay, we'll see. It's not necessary to sack the exchange, and you could also like prepare it, maybe queen b2. He's not going anywhere, and you can certainly sack the exchange next move. And if queen e5, oh, this is hanging. Okay, never mind. Never mind, it's hanging. Okay, yeah, I got it. So takes here, and now takes queen e5, and you have queen a7 check, and you win the a pawn. But do you want to do that? Do you really want to do that? How's the ending, for white here? So takes. You're worse. What are you? I'm not sure if you're worse. You have like a3. And if takes rook a1. But I admit that like white definitely isn't winning. White is worse. White's lost here. All right. So you can't trade. I guess the bottom line is that you shouldn't have sacked the exchange. It was too early. But the bottom line, the real bottom line is that like you shouldn't take his bishop. Why are you taking his bishop? You have a white square bind. You should take his knight, not his bishop. You want to play with knight against bishop, not knight, knight against knight, or down the exchange. Knight against rook. Why take his bishop? This was a huge mistake. That's your huge mistake, yeah. Not necessary. And then, okay, check, rook f7, queen takes a5, but he gets the pawn on e4. Okay, this is interesting. You're going to get the pawn on b4. Rook e8, queen b4, fe4. So you're down the exchange, but you have powerful a pawn. Black might be threatening e3. When in doubt, you can blockade, but he has queen b2. This e3 should be on the radar. So maybe you have king g1. After king g1, we've got 2 pawns for the exchange and a strong knight. That's all you have to do. Just king g1. Don't allow e3. You played a4 too early. You let him get in this trick, and suddenly black had play. Now I don't know. After e2, we might be in trouble. So it really came down to that you're still better after this. King g1. Yeah. You take away his trick with e3, and then black is slightly worse. This knight on d5 and 2 pawns, and his rooks can't do anything on the open lines. What he needs is like queen d4, double rooks, and triple attack f2. Let's say. So you play king g1, he plays queen d4, but he's hanging this d6 pawn. Does it matter? Or maybe he doubles rooks first? I don't know. He doubles rooks first? Then you can play queen d2. So I think you should go here. And if you take another pawn, he has e3. That's a nasty surprise. So you need to play something else safe. Like, well, I mean, for example, queen c3. And you're not in any danger. Yeah, a4 mistake, e3, f3, e2, rook e1, and you're in trouble. Now maybe you can still maintain the blockade and you're still winning. Damn. But this pawn is going to be a problem. At the very least, you're distracted by trying to keep that pawn under control. So you actually win this game. Okay, I thought that black won for some reason. You shouldn't have let him get that pawn through to e2, but you're still better. Huh? Okay. So black lost. Yeah, but it wasn't perfect. Yeah, good game. All right, interesting. So what is this? Leela chess versus me. Okay, like what is this, our last game? What I didn't see is he's g5, g4. Wait, what? Like here? Now? g5, h5, g4. Well, yeah, I don't know, what happened here at the end. Black played rook e5, which is like to lift the rook, but it looks like it's too slow. I mean, doesn't he have maybe a sack on f3? There's got to be something for black. So rook e5 was the best move. That's wild. Wow. And after this, he just blundered, allowing queen f6 check. He has g5. Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to see that's winning for black. You have a pass to a pawn. Are you threatening queen d1? Well, he's not. I mean, but he could be after king h2. Ah, the sack. See, it does happen. Okay, this is a complicated position, and I don't think many people are going to find g5. G5 is a very hard move to find. Okay. It depends on the time situation. It was a funny mistake though. I have no idea why he played that. Rook e7. It doesn't even do anything. That literally does nothing. And I can't imagine what kind of mouse slip it could be. Because where would that rook even go? But he needs to play for this rook sack here on f3. All right. Last game. This is the other new viewer. I don't get it. Leela chess 1 node capped, whatever that is. And me. Thank you guys. This is Phil. No, Phil Rizzuto. No, Phil played the Philidor. As I said, it's AI engine cat to 1 node. It can't calculate. Okay. So it's like a weak calculation. It's like Leela chess with weak calculation depth. E4, C5, knight f3. Leela is an AI chess engine, if you want to call it that. It's not really an engine in the traditional sense. So D4, C takes C4. I haven't heard about Leela in a while. It was a sensation for a while. Knight takes D4, knight F6, and we're playing the Najdorf. Okay, yeah, so this is the Sozin, and then black plays E6. They called this the Lipnitsky attack. So I don't know like how you define Lipnitsky attack. Is that really not the Sozin? This is called Lipnitsky attack. So the Sozin must be like against the classical. Calling this Sozin attack. They can transpose, but the point is knight on c6. It's not counted as a Sozin. I'm not sure that everybody really buys into that, and I'm not sure it even matters. But I played bishop c4 a lot, and I played a3 here against Elvest. I played it a few games against people. A4 is another move occasionally you see, but the normal thing to do is bishop b3. So I played both. I mean, I played bishop b3 too. Bishop b3 is main line. I played a lot of these. But most people I know, they don't, in the West at least, we don't have much recognition of Lipnitsky because no one really knew his book. I only recently got it. Questions of Modern Chess Theory. It was like a classic Russian book that was never translated into English until like the last 15 years. So Lipnitsky has a really good training book, strategy book on chess strategy. But he was unknown to the West, so we would call everything the Sozin. This is the Sozin in my or Fischer Sozin. You would say like Fischer Sozin. Okay, bishop e3. That's some technical. I thought that move was slightly inaccurate. e5, bishop e3. Oh, so bishop b7 is kind of... Is this all new? No, there's a Velimirovich game from 1987. There was another one. I don't know if Mr. Slow is still here. Yeah, strange. This move order with bishop e3. It looks like it's actually okay. Well, knight c6 is a direct transposition to a Velimirovich attack after queen e2. So black shouldn't do that. b5 is definitely better. White has to play bishop b3 or bishop d3. Bishop b3. And now, so, yeah, I don't know. I thought this was technically okay for black. I lost a game like this with white where I sacrificed my... I think I sacrificed my e4 pawn. I had some game where I did like f4. And I don't remember the exact position, but I mean, the dude, Farkash Tibor, like took my pawn on e4. And I didn't get enough compensation. I've had other games like this that worked. There's this sort of, 96 type of thing, like I don't know, it's crazy, but I don't play this move really usually. Bishop e3, b5, bishop b3, bishop e7. That's safe, but this looks to be more critical. There's also b4. b4. If b4, knight a4, bishop d7. Velimirovich Ilinchich, 1991. Good friend of mine. Ooh, this is bad for black. So b4 isn't the best move. Apparently this is the best move. I hate f3. Why does white need to play f3? He plays f3. It plays f3. But does it have an opening book? I'm guessing no, right? So, f3 always strikes me as weird. Because normally white plays queen e2. There's Kramnik Carlson, 2020. Queen e2 is a Velimirovich style. G4 is just too slow, it looks like. And then the other option is a3, stopping b4. Aronian Digniren. I mean, a3 is definitely a move I've probably played if I ever got into this position. I never really like playing f3. It's an English attack with the bishop on b3, which is weird. Apparently it's okay, though. Castles, and now a3. Setha Rahman versus Navarra. Robert Hubner, 2001. So queen d2 is like pretending you're playing the English attack. g4 is interesting. a3 is kind of passive, and castles is lame. So a3 was played. Aronian Vachier, 2021. And the other games are kind of random. So it looks like queen d2 is more dynamic. a3, and now you played bishop b7. Black has no losses with bishop b7. But, the thing that's counterintuitive about this is the fact that it looks like, well, you're attacking nothing, there's no like sacrifice on e4, you can't play b4, and people are always afraid of this sacrifice on e6, but in most cases it doesn't work. I think this is the exception more than the rule, where these actual white can sack a piece on like e6 or something. Someone did this, you know, against Igor. Oh, geez. I mean, wow. He's sacking a piece for 2 pawns against Igor Novikov. Pawn takes, knight takes, queen c8, knight takes f8. Well, he gets the 2 pieces. Okay. Bishop takes f8 and black is better. Because the minor pieces play in the middle game. What does the engine say? It's equal, almost equal. Black's a tiny bit better. But in any case, I don't think that white should do that. But you played bishop d7, keeping control of e6. The problem with this may be, where's your knight go? Let's see when this game was played. Insert. Oh, Budapest Spring Open, 1998. Well, I had not arrived. This is pre-Slaggy arrival. I played 3 tournaments that year in Hungary, but not that one. Tomescu against Hebert Adam. Yeah, G4 is strong. And now you play knight C6. So this is like it's like a curious attack. Your knight doesn't have this square. So that means you're going to H5 or E8. E8's very passive. The problem with H5 is that it can be attacked out there, but his bishop's on B3. So I think that white can only challenge that knight by a knight maneuver, like knight E2, knight G3. Meantime, you're attacking G5, so it plays F4. And here, preparing for the Fianchetto knight. Last resort. We don't really want to Fianchetto knights. In general, it happens to everybody sometimes, queen D2. And now, yeah, it's tough with your knight on the side of the board. And it's not going to get back in the game effectively. It'd be really nice if you could sacrifice it. But see, the thing is, like, if you ever play E5, this square is gone forever. I mean, look how much control white has of D5. That's just ridiculous. He has so much control of D5. And your knight on F6 was one of the only pieces that... So this really seems to be a very important moment where you did bishop D7. This is a much better move. It's not a coincidence. It was played by Igor. It was played by Vachier. It was played by the German IM, Kohlweier, Galiash. You know, so a bunch of good players. This is the moment. You have to play bishop B7. And then white shouldn't sack on E6. This is a novelty, H4. Queen E2. Aronian versus Giri. Aronian versus Vachier. He's played this a couple of times. I never really considered like Levon to be an E4 player. I feel like he's stronger with other openings, but all right. We're in trouble now. And queen C7. And the engine doesn't go for queenside castling. But you are in big trouble. If this is a computer or a human grandmaster, black is in a lot of trouble here. F5. This has happened to me many times. If not queen C7. Well, queen C7 is a standard kind of move. There's rook C8. Knight takes D4. And one thing you could do is take on F4 there. Bishop takes e5. As I said, the square is gone. But he probably takes with the bishop. Of course, it's the same fork, right? Are we doing it? The computer is going to go for it. Knight f4. Knight f4 is good. So apparently, if you do knight takes d4, you're okay. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, queen d4, queen d4, knight takes f4, bishop f4, e5, queen somewhere, e takes f4. Now g5 is hanging, so h4. And as I said, the d5 square is very, very bad, but maybe it's not that bad. That's the computer thinks. It's one feature of the position. It's an important feature of the position, but maybe you're up a pawn. This is a hard move to find h5. Weakening your own king side to block the lines. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would lose to a computer like 100% of the time here. Even AI with one move calculation. This is an interesting experiment. So f5, knight takes c4, queen takes c4, e takes f5. It intuitively goes for this. Pawn sack, basically. And then f takes c4, castles queen side. So that's 2 pawns. 2 pawns. These are your 2 pawns. But its control of the center is, I think this is really amazing. You know, if you look at all 4 central squares, white is better. And now there's serious threats here. So bishop e6. And now the computer is really looking like an AI. I mean, here, come on, this sick. Beautiful. Bishop d2 move. That's a miracle that you even got to g7. Wow, nice tactic. Knight e2 check. Bishop takes d5. You managed to trade off many pieces. Many pizzas. Bishop takes g7, king g7, c takes b. And it looks like you're holding. Wow. So after everything's said and done, it's probably like a draw. And you stopped him from playing queen f6 check. Theoretically, black is up a pawn, but because we're so tied to f7, I think a draw would be a good result. Now he gets the cubby hole, and his king can never be attacked there. No, black's actually better. So what happens here after h5? What's the end of the game? Time? I mean, black is better now. You're a clear pawn up. Well, you really have no losing chances. White can play a4. But I mean, it's -2. So apparently a4 is not the best. Oh, he has rook c5. Okay. He had rook c5. I didn't see it. He gets the pawn back, but your pawn's faster. I mean, all that matters is, no, this would be a crazy position. There, you're apparently winning because your pawns are faster. So it wouldn't trade queens. What if you do like b4? You know, that would It would force him to play. This is useless. It would force him to play a4. But he only has one passed pawn, and you have 3. So clearly, Black is the only one with serious winning chances here. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to new viewers. We'll continue. We'll continue tomorrow, Friday morning. Blitz chess challenges, and then Sunday simul. Thank you guys for your support. We're up to 435 for the World Senior in November. And thanks for all the gift subs. We'll see everybody tomorrow morning. Have a great Thursday night. And thanks for tuning in. Good games today. Bye.